Welcome everybody, it's Andrea Caprio and I'm live today from Miami, the city where I lived many years, and I'm back for some business, for a mastermind and a conference next week. So I thought I will do my Facebook Live this week directly from actually my hotel room. That's why my background is a little bit different than normal. But nevertheless, I want to share with you something that came up earlier this week, that some people are struggling with motivation. They want to lose weight and they really struggle to keep the motivation. So I want to share with you today 10 of my favorite tips to overcome weight loss demotivation, right? When you're in that funk where you try to willpower it, when you kind of, fall off the wagon, when you really struggle with motivation, that's what I want to do, is give you some really easy tips that you can gain back the motivation you might have lost on the way. So let's talk about it. My hair is all over the place. I think it's the weather in Miami actually. So you see, I know that of course, staying on track on a diet is never very easy. So to be able to get there, it is actually sometimes very important just to cut it down in small little pieces. Very often when we start on our journey, or when we are on a journey and when it's a little bit difficult, it becomes very overwhelming. And when we start actually to cut it down in simpler steps, that's where we can be successful. So number one tip from me for you to gain more weight loss motivation is to find a role model. I really like to play that game, a future game, or rather the game, of a alter ego, is when you want to become that alter ego, which could be a role model, a hero, or something like that, somebody you want to be or be like. You can never be obviously the same person, but if you have that role model, it's much easier. Also, if you spend more time with people that are already where you want to get, right? So let's say, for example, you want to lose weight. It's better to hang out with people who are maybe sporty, who are maybe or have lost weight, who are eating healthy and living a healthy lifestyle, instead of hanging out all the time with people who are not having a little healthy lifestyle and who are maybe still having the lifestyle that you want to leave behind in terms of eating, maybe moving, or whatever it is, right? So by getting clear on the role model you want to become eventually, or like that person to become, it's much better to ask yourself, what would that person do, say, think, decide, eat, whatever it is, right? So if I was that person, right? Or even you can say my future self, right? This perfect future self. So if I was that person, would I eat all these cookies, right? Or not? And when you ask yourself that question, most likely you would say no. And then it's more likely that you won't do that. So tip number one, find a role model. Tip number two is to reward yourself, right? Altogether, or most of the people are beating themselves up and always say like, oh, I haven't done this yet, I haven't been able to eat healthy, I eat only crap food, everything is bad. So it's kind of, we tend to see a little bit the negative side of things only, instead of actually seeing the positive side. Already, oh, instead of eating chocolate, I actually ate a carrot today, or whatever it is, or I drank some more water than usual, or whatever. So reward yourself, or rather count your wins and then reward yourself. I have a really great method from the book Tiny Habits. I highly recommend that book, by the way. So Tiny Habits, it is, so you want to start a new habit by putting it together with an existing habit, and then celebrate. And you can just say yes, yay, or whatever. Or you can say, if I drink enough water today, or in the whole week, every day I drink enough water each day, at the end of the week I will go to the movies as a reward. Don't make it a food related reward, by the way. That's perhaps not, especially if you want to lose weight, that's not really the thing. But find something little, call a friend, watch a movie, take a bath, get a massage, whatever it is. Tip number 3, take before photos. When you see how far you've come and the difference, it's super, super motivating, right? Now, you could take photos, but you could also take measurements. I don't like the scale as a kind of method, right? Because a lot of people are too scale driven actually, but you could definitely take photos or measure and see the progress in there. And then obviously if you see anything that improves, you can reward yourself, and also you can measure, how things go. Next tip is to make a plan. Now, I see too many people, they are just kind of living the day, and that is not always working, especially, when we are on a weight loss journey and we go, for example, to a party, or we go out to a restaurant or on holiday. So especially on those moments when things are different than usual, it's super important to make a plan, a meal plan, a plan for your holidays, a plan for your life, for everything. It helps you to stay organized. It helps you to buy things in a better way, right? Maybe not to throw away things so much, or buy in bulk and use that. So meal planning and in general having a plan is really important. By the way, before I forget, I have actually to share this here. Let me see if I can do that. I have also a blog post with exactly the same things I'm mentioning here, with all the explanation and the summary of my 10 surprising tips for weight loss motivation. So you find that in the comments here, where you can see which tips, maybe you want to use that for future reference also. So you can check out the list and my blog post for that, and the link is in the comments. Right, the next tip is to set goals. Now, making a plan is one thing, but also setting realistic goals, smart goals, by the way, so specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timelessly. And when you have those kind of goals, then it's obviously much easier to have a plan, and then according to that, set habits, right? You can then say, if you have a goal, a very clear goal of wanting to lose 10 pounds, for example, you can then say, okay, what do I need to do for that, right? So you plan the habits, the tasks, the things you do, and so on. So you know that maybe you have to do more gym, or you need to sleep more, or you need to eat maybe less, or certain things, or less of certain things, or whatever it is. So make sure that you set yourself goals, and then from there you can do the planning and the habits. One thing I often see that is not really taken care of and is often an issue are not only things directly related to losing weight, such as eating or exercise. A lot of people forget so many other things are important, such as stress management and sleep. Now, sleep is one of those things. If you don't get enough sleep, you are negatively affecting your hormones. Melatonin is your sleep hormones, and all the hormones are connected together, and thus might affect other hormones such as your satiety and hunger hormones, and so on, or your blood sugar, and they all play together. So when we're not getting enough sleep, our energy is low, and we tend to eat more to make up. To give you an idea, I was flying overnight, not overnight actually, but over several time zones, and arriving here, I haven't slept so much, and obviously I'm jet lagged. I definitely have noticed that I eat a little bit more than usual. So I really have normally my eating really well under control. So, I'm not too, sometimes, yes, of course, I also enjoy life, but I'm normally not having too many cravings or so. But I definitely notice that I eat a little bit more because of this missing sleep that I'm having. So sleeping regular 8 hours, I highly recommend. If that's not something you're doing, please do try and get into that habit of winding down, of maybe getting help to sleep. You can always, contact me or somebody else to get help to improve things like stress management, eating, sleep, and so on. Then tip number 7 is drinking lots of water. Often we mistake thirst for hunger, and then, instead of drinking actually water, we are eating, and that obviously affects our motivation. But also water helps to regulate body temperature and, removes waste and toxins and so on. And that really helps you to lose weight, but also, just to stay more energetic, which helps your motivation for weight loss. Next point is to eat breakfast. Now, I could not say more about the importance of eating regularly, and especially breakfast, and especially having enough protein during breakfast and not too many carbs. When you have too many carbs in your breakfast, it leads to an up and down of your blood sugar, and that leads to more cravings, which obviously affects your motivation. And by just adding more protein regularly to your meals, especially breakfast, might make all the difference in that. Really, I've seen often huge changes when people add protein to their breakfast in terms of weight loss, often when they were stuck, and also cravings. Tip number 9 is to avoid processed foods. Of course, I'm sure you know that, but the thing is, you see, processed foods are void or almost void of any vitamins or natural nutrients and so on. And if the body doesn't get those, it will ask you for more food because it just needs nutrients. And that, of course, leads in an never-ending vicious cycle of cravings, hunger, eating, guilt, shame, etc., etc. So just by changing from processed foods to whole foods is something that can help you with your weight loss. And the last tip is to stay positive, right? Now, a positive mantra is maybe something often, like earlier I mentioned, you have maybe negative mindset and you think you never get there. But just by changing your negative mindset to saying, yes, I will get there. It might take time. I'm on a journey. I don't need to compare myself to my neighbor. I have already improved and I am deserving to improve and to lose weight, etc., etc. These are things really that help you to get on the journey and stay on your journey successfully. Great, so these were my 10 tips, which maybe I should just tell you again. So number 1, find a role model. 2, reward yourself, take before photos, make a plan, set goals, get enough sleep, drink plenty of water, have breakfast, avoid processed food, and stay positive. All these tips you can also find with the information in my blog post. The link is in the comments. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Next week, next week I will probably not be online. I am at a mastermind with my coach, so I probably cannot do a video, but the week after should be possible. If you have any questions, please in the comments just let me know, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye bye.